Your local news is next.
A BU student's tale of terror after surviving a carjacking. It was like a scene from a Western movie, a shootout at a major airport. And did the Unabomber send a letter to a Bay State scientist? 7 News at 11 is right now.
Live from WHDH-TV Boston.
3, stand by, on the air.
This is 7 News.
Wildfires raced through several Bay State towns, putting homes and lives in danger. We're live with the latest.
A day of reconciliation, sorrow, and hope, remembering VE Day around the world.
Thousands of foot soldiers march against hunger in the hub.
It's still cool and very dry here with snow moving into parts of Maine.
And in sports tonight, the Bruins open the playoffs against the Devils at the Garden. Not what they had in mind.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Kim Kerrigan.
And I'm John Marler. Brush fires are sweeping across hundreds of acres of land in several Bay State towns tonight. The latest fire to break out tonight is in Lakeville. At least 100 acres are burning there. People there forced to evacuate, and in other hot spots, including Plymouth to the south and Manchester by the Sea on the North Shore. 7 News reporter Jonathan Hall is live in Manchester by the Sea. He has our top story. Jonathan?
John, there have been some scary moments here. It's been touch and go all day long. Town fathers have declared a state of emergency. Luckily, no one's been hurt, but firefighters are in for a long night.
The conditions are just terrible. We had no snow this winter, so everything is tender dry.
Yeah, what we got here, Doc, is the fire is burning out to the road. So
It's night. The forest should be pitch black, but the woods are alive with light, alive with fire, and crews struggle to keep up.
it's just going to keep burning all night, so I guess we're going to need some direction as to what you're going to want to do. Want to put it out? I'm coming with some hose. Okay, the only problem is we don't have any water.
The flames were first spotted early this morning and flared up this afternoon. It's difficult to estimate, but it's believed the fire has charred at least 200 acres off Pine Street in Manchester by the Sea. About 300 firefighters and volunteers from 24 communities are battling the flames.
We have got a long night and probably maybe a long week.
Lack of water a problem?
Lack of water is a problem. Access to get to it is a big, But tomorrow when the winds blow, this thing here will dry right up. Wherever we've done, we'll come right back again.
The problem out here this afternoon and to a lesser extent tonight is the wind. The wind gusts take these flames and throw sparks off into the dry timber. It's so dry out here, these things just ignite. Homes have been threatened, but so far none have been burned. And despite the state of emergency, no residents have been forced to evacuate. But it will be a long, sleepless night for those who live in these woods.
But we're not experienced about these things, and the fire can travel fast. So we send the children to their friends and emptied out our valuables.
It's just the terrain is terrible. You just have to drag this hose in for miles. They're in there some places 2,000 feet.
And they're in there with precious little water. Some have just a few gallons strapped to their backs.
If God rains on us, we're all set.
That would be nice. We've just checked with Captain Herrick, the man in charge here. He says at last report, all the flames were headed away from homes in the area, and that is good news. National Guard is expected here in the morning, and it's hoped they will bring a helicopter with them. We're live in Manchester by the Sea. Jonathan Hall, 7 News.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Also, a massive brush fire in Plymouth earlier today forces some residents from their homes. Flames shot 40 feet high and spread 60 acres wide, burning through woodland off Route 3 near Miles Standish State Park. Residents doused their lawns with water as that fire drew near, and then they were told to get out. Tonight, fire officials say there are still some hot spots, but the blaze is just about out.
War and remembrance. World War II ended 50 years ago tomorrow in Europe. Today, veterans and heads of state from New England to Old England honored the Allies and tried to heal old wounds. 7 News reporter Christine Caswell has the story.
Vice President Al Gore and his wife Tipper were among some 60 heads of state, some former allies, some former enemies, toasting peace. In London's Hyde Park, the truce signed 50 years ago was honored by the release of hundreds of doves. And each head of state in attendance signed an olive leaf, which was placed in this colossal globe. Thomas Conway, an American soldier captured by the Germans, was there. He was hoping to meet other former prisoners of war.
If we could find them, what would they do?
Take it out.
Give him a big talk over all times. Yeah, give him a big hug and maybe cry a little bit.
Solemn ceremonies to remember the 20,000 people killed a day during World War II were held at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Even the Chancellor of Germany, the former enemy, was there.
Countries were ravaged, cities were destroyed, millions rendered homeless, countless numbers were maimed for life, and millions died either in battle, in bombings, or as a direct result of the war.
And in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, veterans laid wreaths on the graves of comrades.
50 years ago tomorrow, the fighting stopped and the celebrating started. A huge celebration will be held in London tomorrow night with a sing-along outside Buckingham Palace. Then 2 minutes of silence will be observed across Great Britain. In the newsroom, I'm Christine Caswell, 7 News.
A Watertown man is due in court tomorrow, charged with impersonating a police officer, then carjacking and kidnapping a BC student. The student says Sean Allen assaulted him. Police say Allen pulled the student over, cuffed him and took off in the car, then drove to an isolated area where he assaulted the student.
That's something I'm really trying to piece up together, because it does not make sense.
Was it just arbitrary that it could have been anyone?
I bet. I mean, this guy was so professional. He conned me. I mean, he was so professional that it could have happened to anybody.
Police have no motive for the attack.
2 more UMass hockey players are going to be arraigned tomorrow in a sexual assault case. 2 are already charged. Jeremy DeBona is charged with rape. Brendan Murphy is charged with sexual assault. And police are looking for a 5th suspect. The assault allegedly happened in a dorm room on Thursday. A Roxbury man is due in court tomorrow, charged with shooting a girl on a Roxbury playground. 20-year-old James Patton was arrested Friday, 2 days after 10-year-old Shantae White was caught in the crossfire. Police have a warrant for another suspect. Investigators say they got help from the community in identifying their suspects.
Could the Unabomber be threatening a Beverly man? The FBI is on the case now. This is a sketch of the so-called Unabomber, believed responsible for many mail bombings since the late 70s. A scientist at New England Biolabs in Beverly recently received a threatening letter. Investigators say it's similar to other letters sent to victims of the Unabomber. Tests will prove if the letter is authentic.
It has been more than 2 weeks now since the bombing in downtown Oklahoma City. And today, for the first time, the people of that city were able to try to get back to day-to-day life. Starting today, the people of Oklahoma City can go and see firsthand the destruction at the federal building. Many are taking flowers and gifts. It's a way to help their children and themselves deal with the tragedy. Controversial Michigan militia member Mark Kernke spoke at a so-called Patriot rally today in Palm Springs, California. You may remember Kernke's name surfaced in the investigation of the Oklahoma bombing, though he was never charged. His appearance today drew protesters in addition to the 500 who showed up for the rally. Reporters, by the way, were not allowed inside. Stay with 7 News for continuing coverage of the bombing in Oklahoma City. We will bring you developments as they happen.
And in other national news tonight, Mother Nature not giving folks in Oklahoma a break. A tornado ripped through a small town about 100 miles south of Oklahoma City. A local TV cameraman caught the funnel on tape. It ripped apart several buildings, including a tire plant and a local gas station. Amazingly, no one was hurt.
Deadly weather rips through Texas. A tornado spawned by violent thunderstorms whipped through the Amarillo area overnight. 17 people were killed, including a man who was lifted from his porch and thrown 130 feet. The thunderstorms left massive floods. Rescuers are still looking for 3 people who may have been swept down a manhole.
And a lone gunman opens fire in the Minneapolis airport. Police say the 28-year-old suspect actually boarded a downtown bus with a gun in full view and headed to the airport. When police confronted him, he opened fire and police shot him and hit him in the hip and shoulder. The man will be charged with attempted murder. His last known residence was a home for the mentally ill.
Actor Gary Busey is expected to leave a hospital tomorrow after being treated for an apparent drug overdose. Now, this is Busey in the movie Rookie of the Year. He was found unconscious in his Malibu home Thursday night. Investigators say he had cocaine in his shirt pocket. Charges are pending while investigators take their findings to the district attorney.
A sea of humanity in the hub. Thousands pound the pavement to turn the tide on hunger in the Bay State. That story's coming up on 7 News.
And later in sports, the red-hot Red Sox take one from the Tigers.
You are watching 7 News at 11 with Kim Kerrigan, John Marler, Harvey Leonard with weather, and Gene LaBanchi with sports.
It's like clockwork. I pack the food, Rex navigates, Jeff forgets his medication. So, like most years, we'll drop by the Walgreens in Keene, New Hampshire, where we're regular customers, despite living 3 states away. With thousands of satellite-linked pharmacies nationwide, Jeff's prescription is always nearby. And that's good to know, because we all forget things now and then. Some people are just a little more consistent.
The drive is on. The Pontiac Sales Drive. There's no stopping till we set a new sales record. Now through May 31st, get special 3.6 APR GMAC financing on new Bonnevals. Get the #1 selling Pontiac Grand Am with cash back prices now start at under $13,100. Or get Pontiac's all-new Sunfire, a real set of wheels for around $11,700. Hurry to the New England Pontiac Sales Drive.
Hey, weed warriors. This stuff takes 2 to 4 weeks to kill weeds. That's a month. Spectricide's grass and weed killer works in just 24 hours. Quick and painless. Except I'm lying on my keys. Weeds can't hide from Spectricide.
The rewards of using the American Express card keep adding up. Every time you use the card, you can earn miles. Miles that add up to free vacations, free flights, free adventures. The Membership Miles program. It's our way of saying thank you for using the American Express card. Enroll today. You've earned it. To enroll or to apply for a card, call 1-800-AX-MILES.
Killer viruses, the kind that spread rapidly and kill quickly. Viruses that have no cure. Could we have an outbreak in real life? Could it happen here? The frightening facts in Killer Viruses, Monday, 6 and 11.
A sea of good souls pounded the pavement of Boston today. It was the 26th annual Walk for Hunger.
47,000 people, including John and me, put our best feet forward to fight hunger. 7 News reporter Mark Weil found out why so many people had an appetite to walk.
It was a street party, 20 miles long, a sea of humanity on a humanitarian mission, a glorious day and a worthy cause.
I'm walking for hunger.
This is my first year walking. I hope I make it.
Tens of thousands joined the 26th annual Walk for Hunger, the biggest one-day event of its kind ever, to raise over $3 million for 500 Boston area soup kitchens.
1 out of 10 people in Massachusetts is affected by this program, either taking part or receiving from it. There are going to be 14 million people receiving a meal as a result of what happens here today.
It's a good cause, and I figure, God's blessed me with my health. I should be able to help other people.
I have a lot, and I feel bad for the people who don't have as much as I have.
The halfway point. Time for a break and a foot massage and maybe a Band-Aid for the blisters. A few miles later, the Boston skyline comes back into view, and the weary walkers know the finish line is not far away. How do your feet feel at the end of the day?
They hurt a lot.
But it's worth it?
Yeah, it really is.
20 miles, just a few more feet.
And at the finish line, there is celebration, because even though their feet are hurting, their hearts are happy. That's what happens when you walk 20 miles for a good cause. I'm Mark Weil, 7 News.
Thanks to everybody who got out today. This year's Walk for Hunger was sponsored in part by Channel 7.
And the clear skies held up real well today. Clouds are trying to back in from the state of Maine. That could make it interesting for early tomorrow. We'll let you know all about it.
On May 14th, Infiniti will shatter your notions of what a $30,000 luxury car can be.
U.S. Healthcare salutes all those who believe it's not how old you are, but how young you feel.
Fairy tales can come true. It can happen to you if you're young at heart. For it's hard you will find to be narrow of mind if you're young at heart. You can go to extremes with impossible schemes. You can laugh when your dreams fall apart at the seams. Now here is the best part. You have a head start if you are amongst the very young. At home.
U.S. Healthcare, the health plan for living.
I was raised in a drugstore. I'm from a small town in Alabama. I try to bring that small town drugstore into Walmart.
Well, it's nice to be known personally by somebody when you come in.
And we try to treat them like neighbors because they are our neighbors. We see them in church. We see them at PTA meetings. We see them at school board. We're like a big family, really.
If you went in, they'd serve you just as well as they'd serve me.
What I learned in my father's store is what we bring to Walmart every day.
$30,000 is a substantial amount of money. Too bad the other luxury car companies don't think so.
Now, 7 weather with Harvey Leonard.
It was a terrific day today, and it was awfully nice seeing a lot of you during the walk path, and it was a great cause and a great day. But look how chilly it was early this morning. 27 in Springfield, 29 in Keene, New Hampshire. Boston was 41. We did have a good recovery thanks to the strong May sun into the 50s in just about all areas, but that wind was whistling. There were frequent wind gusts past 40 miles per hour across the area. Current temperatures now average out in the 40s, and it's still clear in our area, 47 specifically in Boston. Notice the dew point humidity very, very low. It's been very dry, not much precipitation. That, of course, is in part why the brush fire threat is going to remain just that until we get some significant precipitation. Now, speaking of that, there is some cloudiness over the state of Maine. Notice it's starting to back closer toward us, and I think some of those clouds will come down over eastern New England during the course of tomorrow morning. So do expect some cloudiness, especially along the coast. There's actually some snow falling out of the clouds. It's been snowing all day in Caribou, Maine. Some light rain now around Bangor, Maine. Even a remote chance, a little light rain or sprinkles could touch the coastline or the outer part of the Cape. I don't think that'll happen. It's a remote chance, but there will be some clouds at times tomorrow, especially the first 2/3 of the day, and most especially right along the coast. Systems are kind of backed up in the atmosphere, so we're just near the edge of this storm. That's why a little cloudiness may temporarily back in. We'll warm up with sunshine on Tuesday and then get some of this moisture on Wednesday and Thursday. That's how the week seems to be shaping up. Let's give you a forecast. It breaks down like this. Tonight, some clouds well to the north and east of Boston will edge closer to town by dawn. Temperatures 35 to 45. And tomorrow, look for some cloudiness, especially along the coast for a while. Temperatures in the afternoon, 55 to 62. Still a gusty wind, not as ferocious as today, though. Becoming clear tomorrow night, 35 to 45 with less wind. Great day on Tuesday. That's my pick of the week. Sunshine near 70 inland, near 60 on the coast with a sea breeze. Clouds come in Tuesday night. A little bit of rain could develop on Wednesday, and there is a threat of some rain on Wednesday night and Thursday. We do need the rainfall, so let's kind of hope it works out that way. Ty Gross will be next updating you during tomorrow morning. He'll see you then.
Game 1 between the Bruins and Devils at the Garden this afternoon. Not a pretty picture, that is. We'll break it all down straight ahead in sports.
Connector A to panel C.
Looks like you might not make it to the bank today.
I don't think so.
You can call Bay Bank to open a new account anytime, no matter what size house project you get wrapped up in.
Hi, I'd like to open an account.
For banking anytime you have time.
Good.
Call Bay Bank.
Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme meets Ford Taurus head-to-head in the Oldsmobile Challenge. Now lease Cutlass for only $249 a month. Cutlass has more standard power, more leg and headroom, more resale value, and more choice. But Cutlass is $2,150 less than Taurus. And now you can lease a new Cutlass Supreme for only $249 a month. You owe it to yourself to move up to Oldsmobile. Take the Oldsmobile Challenge, now at your local New England Olds retailer.
Every morning before the store opens, we get everybody together.
Give me a W!
The idea is to get in a real good mood and pass it along to our customers. We call it the Walmart Cheer. Now, some folks might think it's hokey, but it works. It's kind of like a pep rally. I get all pumped up just thinking about it. What does it spell?
The rewards of using the American Express card keep adding up. Every time you use the card, you can earn miles. Miles that add up to free vacations, free flights, free adventures. The Membership Miles program. It's our way of saying thank you for using the American Express card. Enroll today. You've earned it. To enroll or to apply for a card, call 1-800-AX-MILES.
Who calls Baybank at 5:30 in the morning to apply for a home equity line?
That's quick.
Someone who's got to be at the rink by 6.
My daughter's telling me I gotta go.
Come on, Dad, let's go.
For banking anytime you have time, call Baybank.
Time for 7 Sports with Gene Levanti.
Trying to find something positive about today's Bruins game. Let's see. Well, to the best of our knowledge, nobody wearing black and gold lost any teeth. Otherwise, it's a day to forget. The Bees were bagged and tagged by the Devils this afternoon. This was just plain ugly, folks. Stefan Richer gets it started for the Devils. On the power play in the first, Richer lets it fly off Bork's stick. Gets behind Blaine Locker. 1-0 Devils. Ball game. Bad boy Claude Lemieux gets the next two. Blows by both Neely and Bork. Nice move. And it's 2-0 New Jersey. Same type of thing a little later. Lemieux is in naked. Ekes Blaine Locker 3-0 after 1. Bruins just couldn't convert today. They only mustered 23 shots, and Martin Brodeur stops every single one of them. Devils win game 1 in a cakewalk. 5-0 the final. It's time to put this one in the past, and in a hurry.
You know, you can score 50 in the season if you don't show up for playoffs. I think the team's going to have question. You hear it every year that a player's had a great year, but he just can't come up with the playoffs. So I always, you know, my dream is always to win the Stanley Cup. I was fortunate to win it my first year, but it's been a long wait.
I think when they get a 3-0 lead after 1, it kind of the game's over. Then, you know, you can keep trying, but a team that only gives up 2 goals a game, it's going to be pretty tough. And the last 40 minutes were obviously hard for everybody, us included.
Claude Lemieux taking a shot at Mr. Neely there. New Jersey wins easily. Game 2 tomorrow night at the Garden, so the Bruins have a chance to get right back in it right away. Philly takes game 1 in overtime, 4-3 over Buffalo. It's Detroit by the same count over Dallas. And St. Louis nips Vancouver 2-1. All of these game 1s of the best-of-7 series. Toronto 5-3 over Chicago. San Jose surprises Calgary. 5-4 the final. Sharks lead that best-of-7 series now 1-0. Baseball season is less than 2 weeks old, and the Red Sox have already posted 4 shutouts. Mont Eshelman is starting to stand out like a circle in a pack of squares. So far this season, the Sox are handing out more spankings than a fraternity initiation. They shellacked the Tigers this afternoon. John Valentin, a huge series. This solo homer in the first has the Sox off and running, his 4th dinger of the road trip. And what more can you say about Eshelman? Picks up his 2nd win, strikes out 3 while just giving up 4 hits. He is still unscored upon in 13 big league innings. He is 2-0 on the young season. Sox break this one wide open in the 6th. It's Valentin again. This drops in and goes as a 2-run double. Valentin with 3 RBIs on the day, 4 hits, and the Red Sox have a 6-0 lead. Pinch hitter Troy O'Leary gets in the action. Talk about the big jack. This thing is an upper deck jobby, a 3-run smash. Wow, Boston leads 9-0. Mike McFarland completes the fireworks with a 2-run poke. Red Sox sweep the series thanks to today's 12-1 thumping of the Tigers in Detroit. After disposing of the Celtics in 4 games, the Orlando Magic turned their attention to Michael Jordan in Chicago in the Bulls in game 1 of their series that started in Orlando today. Now, late in the game, the Bulls have a 1-point lead in the ball. Michael Jordan has it stolen. The Magic are off to the races the other way. Horace Grant finishes it off. Orlando has a 1-point lead with just 6 seconds left. Last gasp. Jordan can't decide. Should I shoot? Should I pass? What am I going to do? Goes for the pass. Off Pippen. Throws the ball away. And the chance to win game 1 goes with it. Magic take it. 94-91 the final. And what an ending to game 1 between the Knicks and Pacers. Down by 6, 16 seconds left. Reggie Miller goes crazy. The 3 cuts the lead to 3. Pacers steal the inbound pass. Miller steps back, hits another 3, and the game is tied just like that. And John Starks missed 2 free throws while Miller made a pair. Pacers up 2. Knicks with 1 final chance, but Greg Anthony slips, and that's all she wrote. New York had a 6-point lead with 16 seconds left, and they lose the game by 2. A colossal collapse by the Knicks. Pacers take game 1, 107-99. 105. So the Magic lead the series now 1-0. Miller with the last 8 points within 10 seconds. As Orlando beats Chicago, Indiana beats New York. As we told you, that's Miller with the heroics there. And Houston comes back to beat Utah. Rockets win the series 3-2. Well, that'll do it for sports for now. It's been 25 years since Bobby Orr's incredible flight. We take a look back with Bobby just ahead on Sports Extra.
Great, Gene. We'll look forward to that. Before we leave you tonight, we'd like to tell you about some of the in-depth stories that you can look forward to this week on 7 News.
Stories like killer viruses, dangerous teenage trends, and extremists spreading the word of hate in America.
This week, 7 News goes beyond the headlines to bring you stories New Englanders will be talking about.
Coming this week on 7 News, 7 News reports. Starting Monday on 7 News.
Unless you're strong, starting tomorrow, we'll introduce you to some of the most lethal killers in the world. We're talking about killer viruses. Viruses so deadly, they've wiped out entire villages in a matter of days. Could it happen here?
And all you need is to have one person from that community get on a plane and fly somewhere else. They can mutate around antibiotics. The virus absolutely destroys you.
Starting Tuesday on 7 News.
I'm Mike Lawrence. Technology is about to change what comes out of your TV set. Television is going interactive, and couch potatoes may soon be half-baked. Soon you'll be able to actually play against other viewers in those game shows you've always watched. Order, stop and start, even rewind movies in your TV set without going to the video store.
This is really a new frontier. I mean, our imaginations are the only things limiting us now because the technology is now approaching.
Wednesday on 7 News.
I'm Gilda Unruh. A disturbing new trend has young kids burning their bodies. Once used by ranchers to mark their cattle, now branding the human body is the newest way for teens to express themselves.
You can flatten it out, you can improve its appearance, but there's no getting rid of it.
What if your child wants to be branded for life? A special Child Watch report you won't want to miss.
Starting Thursday on 7 News.
I'm Victoria Block. Most Americans were shocked to find out that the bombing in Oklahoma City was homegrown terrorism. But as you'll see this week, it was no isolated incident. Hate groups have been on the rise in America for years.
Of course, I'm planting the seeds of hatred for the criminals in Washington.
They're using today's technology to reach out to more and more people.
Hate's a growth industry in America.
Thursday on 7 News.
I'm Sarah Edwards. This Thursday on 7 News at 11, I'll take you on the set of New England's favorite TV show for the final taping of Seinfeld. We'll talk to Jerry and the gang as they say goodbye for the season and still leave everyone wondering if there will be another.
We get intense.
The series coming this week to 7 News.
Just a few of the stories you'll see on 7 News, and that's it for this edition of 7 News at 11. I'm John Marley.
And I'm Kim Kerrigan. For the first look of today's news, join 7 News today in New England. That begins tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. We hope you had a great weekend. We'll see you again tomorrow.
In the next 30 seconds, you should remember two things. First, your Ford dealer has this low finance rate. Second, you have a limited amount of this. Get 2.9% for up to 48 months, which can mean over $3,600 in total savings on a loaded 95 Escort. But come May, you won't have a lot of this. Once again, get the Escort of your choice with this. But hurry to your New England Ford dealer before this runs out.
Your kid watches TV. He sees an action hero. He wants the action hero. You go looking for the action hero. Not the green one, not the red one, but the blue action hero. The first store is out of action heroes. The fifth store only has red action heroes. You find a store that has the blue action hero. You buy it, he breaks it. You need a new blue action hero. Luckily, you bought it with your Citibank card. They'll take care of it. It's that simple. Now, who's the action hero?
Wake up with 4 hours of news and information. First, it's 7 News Today in New England at 5 a.m. We'll bring you news every 10 minutes.
Today in New England, I'm Kim Casey. We have the latest. Topping our news this Tuesday morning is the
weather every 12 minutes.
Most of the rain is holding off. The top
and traffic every 15 minutes.
Then at 7, join us live in New York for the Today Show.
4 hours of news and information. That's Today in New England at 5.
And the Today Show starting at 7.
Weekday mornings starting at 5. killer viruses, the kind that spread rapidly and kill quickly. Viruses that have no cure.
I could be contaminated.
We see movies about them, but could we have an outbreak in real life? Could it happen here?
They can mutate around antibiotics. The virus absolutely destroys you.
7 News Lester Strong takes a look at the frightening facts in Killer Viruses, Monday at 6 and 11 on 7 News. Allison Gilman on 7 News, Today in New England, weekday mornings.
Neely put it off Broughton with Lemieux and a 2-on-1. Score! 3-0. Broughton to Lemieux.
Tonight on Sports Extra, the Bruins' 95 playoff debut. They were so out of it, you could have knocked them over with a feather. Sox are smashing the ball like you read about, but what about the pitching? And who is this Von Eshelman?
And the easier I make it look, the easier it's coming to me right now. Besides that, no secrets.
Bobby Orr behind the net to Sanderson. Bobby Orr!
25 years ago this week, the greatest moment in Bruins and perhaps Boston Garden history. The principals take a look back.
That was our moment for our careers.
Also tonight, buyers beware. LV shares his memories of the Boston Garden. And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Gene Levanchi. In addition tonight, Kevin DuPont joins us to talk more about the Bruins' disappointing showing today. We'll show some horse sense for our celebrity sports look-alike and an educational funny you should ask. But first, let's get it over with. As we said earlier about today's playoff opener, at least none of the Bruins lost any teeth. Otherwise, it was an ultra-weak, ultra-ugly effort in Game 1 against the Devils. Fran Charles has the gruesome details off the top.
All right, line up our names and numbers of all players here. Throw in here. There you go, thank you.
They were filing through the turnstiles for what will be the final Bruins postseason run at Boston Garden. But once the Bruins themselves filed onto the ice, that or little else seemed to be of concern. What started off badly only turned worse. The Devils blitzed Boston for 3 first-period goals and never looked back.
I think when they get a 3-0 lead after one, the game's over then. You can keep trying, but a team that only gives up 2 goals a game, it's going to be pretty tough. And the last 40 minutes were obviously hard for everybody, as included.
After Richet's goal made it 1-0, the Devils' supposed demon, Claude Lemieux, was busy doing something he rarely does, score. Lemieux left Cam Neely's side long enough to punch in 2 goals past Blaine Locker. This from a guy who only netted 4 during the regular season. That tale was telling enough.
You can score 50 in the season if you don't show up for playoffs. I think the team's going to have question. You hear it every year that a player's had a great year, but he just can't come up with the playoffs.
They're going to play solid. That's exactly what you should expect of the New Jersey Devils. Textbook. That is exactly the way they're going to play.
When it was all said and done, New Jersey tallied up 5 goals, while Boston buried not one. Not what was expected from a Bruins team who lost to the Devils just once during the regular season.
We just finished 8 games or won 8 of the last 10 games, and all everybody told us about how damn good we were. We had a couple days off, and to say it frankly, we were horse tonight. There's no other way to look around it, and we were that way as a team.
No matter how bad we got beat, whether it was double overtime or whether it was 5-0, still only one game, and they got to win 4, we got to win 4, so hopefully we can get right back at it tomorrow.
If there's an upside to this Devils disaster in Game 1, the Bruins don't have much time to dwell on the loss. They're back on the ice tomorrow night at 7:30, and if you'll recall, in last year's Bruins-Devils series, home ice meant no advantage. Both Boston's wins came on the road. Well, now they'll have to lean on that track record coming up on Wednesday and Friday nights in New Jersey. For 7 Sports Extra, I'm Fran Charles.
And as Fran mentioned, the Bruins will have a chance to get right back at it Game 2 tomorrow night at the Garden, and very much a must-win for the Bees, who can ill afford to head to New Jersey in a 2-0 hole. More on the Bees debacle today with Kevin DuPont coming up a little bit later on. Well, the Red Sox bats continue to be the story. 17 more hits today and a 12-1 pounding of the Tigers, completing the sweep this weekend. But what about Von Eshelman? The little-known lefty is starting to make a name for himself. He's still yet to give up a run in 13 innings of work this season, one of the biggest surprises of the young campaign. We caught up with Vaughn upon his return to Fenway earlier tonight, trying to answer the question, who is Vaughn Eshelman?
I'm a pitcher out of AA last year that went down to Venezuela, and I had a pretty good year down there, and the Red Sox picked me up in the Rule 5 draft from the Orioles because I wasn't protected on their 40-man, and now I'm with the Red Sox.
Are you surprised at all by the early season success that you've had here? 13 scoreless innings, 2-0, 7 more shutout innings today. I mean, this is a dream start.
Well, like you said, it's a dream start, but that's something, you know, in the 4 years I spent in the minor leagues that I dreamed about. And, you know, anytime you dream about something, everything's going to go, you know, for the best, and so far it has.
You seem to be the picture of calm out there on the mound, at least on the outside. Is that accurate on the inside? I mean, are you as calm as you appear to be out there?
I've heard that a lot. Today I was pretty calm. In Yankee Stadium when I first got started, it wasn't quite as calm the whole time. You know, I forgot hitters, you know, who hit what, this and that, but everything has worked out pretty good.
Did you think that when you were picked up by the Red Sox in the Rule 5 draft, basically what it means is they had to keep you on the 40-man roster, or actually with the big league club where they'd have to send you back. Did you expect at any time that might possibly happen, that you might be on your way back to the Orioles organization?
Well, you know, starting out spring training, we had 14 pitchers in camp, and they said 13 were gone, so everyone felt like they were gone. Then a week later, we had 22 guys there, so it wasn't just a gimme. I mean, I had to throw the ball well to make the team, and, you know, I threw it, you know, pretty good, and, you know, I got a lot of confidence from Kevin Kennedy and, you know, Cumberland and those guys, and they kept me around, and I'm glad they did, and they should be right now. Hopefully they are too.
I would think that they probably are. Is there something about Vaughn Eshelman that Red Sox fans should know that perhaps they don't, that you'd like to share with us here tonight? A little tidbit, a little factoid or something?
I'm not sure what exactly you're looking for. I'm just going out and trying to make it look real easy, and the easier I make it look, the easier it's coming to me right now. Besides that, no secrets.
What's been the biggest surprise for you in being a big league pitcher? Your first 2 major league starts are both wins. Obviously, you've made it look easy, but in terms of what your expectations were and what reality is, what's been the biggest surprise as far as that's concerned?
I think the biggest surprise is, you know, after being in the minor leagues for quite a while, that I got on the mound at Yankee Stadium and Don Mattingly wasn't 10 or 15 feet tall. You know, they make him out to be that way, and he just wasn't there.
But I'm assuming today Cecil Fielder was probably as big as you expected him to be.
Yeah, he was big, and he almost knocked me out there with that good fastball away, and he hit it up the middle. I thought that was the end of my game.
Well, Vaughn, again, congratulations to you. A terrific start, 2-0. Your first 2 starts are both wins, and of course, Red Sox fans and everybody would love to see you continue that success for quite some time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vaughn Eshelman. And a nice kid at that, and we wish Vaughn, of course, continued success. And the Red Sox will play their annual game against the Paw Sox in Pawtucket tomorrow before opening a 3-game series with Vaughn's old organization, the Orioles, at Fenway Park on Tuesday night. Still ahead on Sports Extra, it's the ultimate Boston Garden moment. It's been 25 years since Bobby Orr's memorable leap into Boston sports lore, and number 4 reminisces with us later in the show. It's a moment that no one in Boston will ever forget. And also coming up, LB tugs at the heartstrings, his fondest memories of the Boston Garden.
Well,
get the Kleenex ready. That's coming up later in the show.
7 Sports Extra is sponsored in part by Hyundai, some of the best ideas on the road.
A sudden downpour, a wet, slippery road. But you couldn't feel more at ease inside your all-new Accent. Guarded by side impact beams that already meet 1997 safety standards. Secured by sure-footed anti-lock brakes on all 4 wheels. Protected by dual airbags. Peace of mind which confirms our decision to build and your decision to buy the all-new Accent from Hyundai. Some of the best ideas on the road.
Think teams can pitch a round Mo this year? No way, Jose. There's a new man at Fenway. Superstar slugger Jose Canseco. Nesson is your ticket to Red Sox baseball. And with a lineup powered by Mo and Jose, there's not a park in the league that'll hold them. Order Nessun now, and you'll get a large Papa Gino's 2-topping pizza absolutely free. Can you beat a pitch like that?
No way, Jose.
Wake up with 4 hours of news and information. First, it's 7 News Today in New England at 5 a.m. We'll bring you news every 10 minutes.
Today in New England, I'm Kim Casey. We have the latest. Topping our news this Tuesday morning is the
Weather every 12 minutes.
Most of the rain is holding off. The top.
And traffic every 15 minutes.
Then at 7, join us live in New York for the Today Show.
4 hours of news and information. That's Today in New England at 5.
And the Today Show starting at 7.
Weekday mornings starting at 5. 7 Sports' Gene Levanchi showing Fran Charles the ropes.
Larry Bird, okay, everybody needs to know about Larry. I'm sure you already do. Well, this is a tough read. This is heartbreaking moments in Red Sox history. This is on the Boston Bruins. That you have all the guys who wore number 6, played left wing, and wore hairpieces. Great moments in Patriots history. It's a quick read, but hopefully they'll be adding a couple more chapters to that. This one here, it's got nothing to do with sports. I think that you'll find the chapter on iguanas especially fascinating.
Gene Levanchi and Fran Charles, part of the 7 Sports team, only on 7 News.
That's fine. And we are back on Sports Extra. Welcome back. We're pleased to have with us his second appearance here on Sports Extra by my count. Kevin Dupont of the Boston Globe joining us and many other areas as well. And we're talking hockey, a new thing for you, I know.
Sorry,
actually, that name belongs somewhere else. I don't mean to steal that. Let's start with today's game, if possible. Kevin, what happened to this team today? Playoff series starting after a short season. The last year in the Garden, you figured these guys would come out fired up, and they were about as flat as you could be.
Yeah, they went down like a house of fire. It was not a good showing. I thought pitiful. Among the very worst playoff performances I can remember in this town for really no attack and really not looking interested. And the big matchup, of course, Cam Neely, Claude Lemieux, and Cam just didn't show up at all. Right. I wrote for the morning, woke up, saw his shadow, and went back in for 60 minutes sleep.
Is there something you can attribute it to, or is it just one of those days and you know, they just came out flat? I mean, but hard to expect that this team would come out flat in the playoffs, but I guess you have to write it off as kind of one of those days, I guess.
Well, I guess you write it off as one of those days because they have no choice, really. But I'm astounded to come into this building, their own building anyway, where they've always had great pride in performance. You know, the whole thing about playing for the sweater, playing for the home crowd, playing for this arena now that it's about to close, and to show up and really come in with a 4-star stinker was amazing.
Who would have thought the Celtics would have had a better playoff effort to this point? Of course, they had 4 games to do it.
Yeah, there were some people over there today making this analogy. Well, the Celtics had this brutal blowout to Orlando in the first game and came back and made a show of it. But you know, what does that mean?
Back to back now because of Fox TV. They don't have the day off in between, and they are playing tomorrow night. Is that going to hurt or help these guys?
Well, my guess is it would hurt them, in that their core is old, with Oates, with Neely, with Bork. Talking about Neely, too, coming, again, the knee is still an issue with him. It hasn't been a pressing issue this year. But a guy today who plays poorly, has to come back tomorrow, and all of them, to think they would come in and give that same effort you'd have to think they'd be down 0-2.
So the get right back up on the horse theory isn't going to apply here in your opinion?
I suppose they're hoping it does. Yeah. Today, among other things, Sutter said, we can't typify what he said here about his team, but he also said that one of the good things is that they don't have to think about it, that they have to come back in. If I were the coach, I'd tell them to go home and think about it.
A lot of guys were focusing, a lot of fans and media types are focusing on the Lemieux and Neely matchup, and certainly would be a case most people thought of Lemieux just beating Neely up and taking him out of his game, trying to frustrate him. Who would have thought that Lemieux would have been the offensive hero and the offensive star in
Two beautiful goals.
Matchup?
Yeah, 2 beautiful goals, and this is the same guy we lived through in Montreal, Claude the Fraud, and everyone loves to hate the guy. But the truth is, he's among the very, very few players in this game now who not only does that kind of grungy, hateful job, but he also has the skill to go out there and bury 2. And he did. He came up with 2 beautiful goals, and one in particular where Neely standing about 12 paces back just watching.
He also got around Mr. Bork there without much hesitation.
And Bork was late. I mean, the big line was -2 before they were even out of the gate.
Talk about how important this game is now tomorrow night. They go into New Jersey, outsized and on a bigger surface and on the road. This is about as crucial as a game as you're going to get for them tomorrow night.
Size is important, and to look at New Jersey, you say these guys are that much bigger. If you actually take the numbers and put them on paper, they're not that much bigger. The averages are virtually the same. They play a lot bigger. They play patiently with Jacques Lemaire's system, and in that sense, they looked bigger. But this is exactly where we were last year, Gene. After the Bruins go up 2-0 in the series, they come back and they lose 4 straight. And by the end of that series, you said, boy, New Jersey's bigger, stronger, more patient. It's 5 in a row now. They're doing the exact same thing.
Let's talk about Brian Sutter. Should the Bruins make an early exit and not get out of this first round? Is his job in trouble? Is his status, you know, depending on the outcome of this series? Does he need to get out of this first round or find himself on that coaching hot seat again?
I think he has to get out of the first round. My feeling was going into this that he had to have 2 good playoff rounds. Obviously win the first to get to the second in the first place. And then if he got there and had a good second series, I figured he'd come back for sure. If he bows out, that'll